Good evening, witches.
Hey, witches.
Welcome to week 8 of the Beginner Witch series. Tonight, we're going to talk about moon magic.
See you soon. 7:29. All right. Nice and early.
Nice and early. Hello, everybody. So good to see all of you.
Yes.
Well, at least your names for those of you who are not on camera.
Yeah.
Um,
It's the last day of February.
It is the last day of February.
Yes.
And
moving right through Pisces season. Hopefully everybody's keeping it together during this time. This is the end of the zodiac cycle, so people tend to get a little more emotional and play the victim or take things really personally. Yeah, it's just a hazard of the time. But then in a couple weeks, we start the Aries season, which means action, 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 take off, do stuff, vitality, health. What are you going to do for Aries season?
I am going to do stuff.
You're
action,
gonna do
action,
stuff.
action.
Yeah,
Yes.
action.
I'm getting ready to do a spell that will coincide with Tuesday, the day of the week, Tuesday, which is ruled by Mars. And so tomorrow I'm going to be doing a spell for, I haven't figured out exactly what I'm going to call it, but it's about health and better health. And really it's about like losing the 10 pounds that I gained over the Christmas holidays and getting back to the weight that I'm happier at. But I don't want it to be just about the weight. I want it to be bigger than that. So I'm thinking through what that is going to be.
Looks like.
I think you're in the same boat with me is where you're at. So one of the things we're going to talk about tonight is days of the week and what they are ruled, the planets they're ruled by, and coordinating your spells with those, with that energy, with the planet, planetary energy. Yes. So, all right. Well,
are you starting at 7:31? Are you thinking about it? She's on it tonight, you guys.
I was thinking about it, but I'll wait. I'll wait for
okay, like 3 more minutes. Maybe. Okay. I mean, it's just
so let's see. So Jayme was gone last week. She spent her time out in Los Angeles for her birthday.
Yes.
And she was not very happy with it because it was really, really cold and windy there.
It was sort of miserable, you guys. We're originally from California, so I really expected wintertime to be mild and nice, and it was not. It was mean and cold and windy. and I only went for 4 days, so I don't pack a lot. But guess what? All the stuff I did pack, I basically had to wear the same outfit for 4 days in a row because I only packed one set of really warm things. And it wasn't the weather was not kind, but it was nice to get out there and see it. I'd never been to LA, never explored that part of the city, some history.
Well, you've been there, you lived there when you were little, you just don't remember it.
Yes. in my adult years. So going there as an adult is such a different experience than when you go somewhere as a kid.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I've been to Vegas when I was 12. I don't really count that as a Vegas trip, but I went through there. So it's nice to return to places as an adult and really take it in like that, and the growth. It's still very beautiful. The Pacific Ocean is still coldish. What is it cold as? I was going to say something. I don't know. Probably
it's
some
cold.
Bad words. It's
cold.
It's always like I got frostbite on my toes.
It's always been cold.
You think about sticking your feet in the water, right? Anywhere you go for like oceanside. Not unless you want to lose them. Yeah. Turn them black. So all the frostbite you
Here in Florida, our water's warming up. So that's wonderful.
Yeah.
We just went to the beach on Sunday and the water was not bad.
Very nice.
Not bad.
It's like 73 degrees. It was pretty good.
Yeah. So really not swimming yet, but still.
The manatees are getting out there. They like the warm water,
So
it's warmed up from 65.
All right. Well, I'm gonna start with
thank you for the birthday wishes.
Yeah, my baby, should I tell them how old you are?
Yeah, I said it a couple weeks ago. 41, y'all.
41. So she was 22.
That was my birthday.
That was
yeah.
her birthday. So that was
2/22/22
that
was
was a big one.
awesome.
and her best laid plans to go up in the mountains and do cards was impossible because of the wind and the cold.
I
so.
couldn't lay out my tarot cards outside, you guys, because I would have lost them. So normally I would do a whole spread for my birthday and I could not. And doing them in the hotel room just wasn't that fun. So I actually didn't do my cards on my birthday, which is at first I was kind of sad about, but I'm like, you know what? I just wasn't meant to do them at that time. That's okay. I did other things. I enjoyed the day and I went up to Malibu and traveled around a bit. So the mountains up there are really beautiful. But yeah. Okay. Enough about me. It is 7:34 and my cat wanted to get started a little bit early. So
it is 7:34
Yeah.
and we're going to get started.
Yes.
Welcome to week 8. Welcome to week 8 of the Beginner Witch series. I can't believe it is flying by.
We have 5 weeks left, right? 13?
Yes, 13. Yeah. Tomorrow is
5
March
more
1st
weeks.
and it's just going by so fast.
Mm.
My name is Kat. I'm a new witch. I've been practicing almost 3 years.
Woo!
This is Jayme. She's almost 25 years into her practice.
You lose count after a while.
We started the New Witches Meetup in November of 2020, and today we have over 1,050 witches.
Woo!
And for the first time, we are going to do some in-person meetups for those of you who are close enough to do that. Punta Gorda, St. Pete, and Brandon. Yeah. So those are coming up. Check the meetup. And let's see, what else do you need to know about us? We're 7 Green Sisters, which is helping witches.
Which is helping witches. That's
Which
the motto we came up with.
Yeah, which for now, right? That's our beginning. But basically, we want to help other witches that are starting on their journey, and then in some other areas where we will do other things like practicing. And so we have big plans. I work full time. Jayme has a full-time job.
Do I?
as a housewife, I guess. Is that what you would call modern?
No, listen, I heard a really great saying, as a well-kept woman. That's what this like 80-year-old guy told me. He's like, oh, you're a well-kept woman. I'm like, I am a well-kept woman. Thank you for noticing. Yes.
Well, she does kind of have a rich husband. So
I have a husband who's been very successful by himself in creating a business. And so he is helping me to create my own business now.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a little bit about us. The links, if you did not read the description in tonight's meetup, please do, because there's links in there that will take you to tonight's lesson, to a Google Drive that has tonight's lesson in it. And then by 4 pages.
4 pages of writing that Kat did.
And by Thursday, we'll have the recording of tonight's video posted to our YouTube channel. And so those links are in the description of tonight's meetup, and feel free to use that information as you want. The Google Drive will always be there, so you can always go back to it. But
as long as you have the link, you can get to the files.
Yep, we're not going to make it go away even after this meeting ends. After the series ends, which, by the way, the series will come back
in the fall.
In August.
That's fall-ish.
In Leo season in August, and we'll do another 13 weeks. So without further ado, moon magic. So tonight, the books we use for reference are this pretty book by Simone Butler, which I just love this. The inside is really, really pretty on the inside. It's just a little bitty book. But this is called Moon Rituals, Easy Tips for Working with Each Astrological Sign to Develop Your True Lunar Nature. We have we spent yesterday afternoon working on this lesson, and she came up with some really interesting, when you're reading these books, you have to intuit what the book's saying, or else you're writing verbatim.
Yeah.
And so she
came
up
on your own knowledge.
So she came up with some things that we're going to share with you about your own sign.
Can't wait for that.
And words of caution, what your sign is about and what to watch out for. So those are words of caution. The other book that I used for reference was called Moon Spells, How to Use the Phases of the Moon to Get What You Want. And those are our 2 reference materials for tonight. So without further ado, The moon, okay, so this is probably, like really basic knowledge, but we're going to hit a couple of high points about the moon, which is that it controls all of the water on the planet, the tides, and us. The reason it affects us so much is because we are 65 to 70% water. And it's really close to our cycle, ladies, at 27 days. So that is another, synchronicity with the moon and with us as human beings here on this planet. There are 8 phases of the moon. And when we were putting this lesson together yesterday, I was thinking about, the 8. And so I have 8s in my birthday, 858. So 11/8/58 is my birthday. So I'm always drawn to 8s. And when you turn the 8 on the side, it's the infinity symbol. And I just thought of how, I don't know, it made me think like it's boundless. The moon phases and her phases are boundless and endless, and they're forever. And so it made me feel like really connect when I had that epiphany. It made me feel very connected to the universe. And I just wonder how it makes you feel about that, knowing that. If you think about the 8 phases, the 8 on its side, it's a symbol of infinity. Does that make any connection with you? Okay, so powering your spells with the phases of the moon. The new or dark moon, as it's called, also known as, when we can't see it in the sky, it's there, but we just can't see it because of where it is. This always confuses me. My daughter, being the science nerd that she is, I had to say, why is the moon here and there? And every day I go out and like it's halfway up in the sky. And this morning it was this beautiful crescent in the east. So it's like the moon should come up and set, and it doesn't, like the sun. So anyway, the moon is always there. And I'm always intrigued by what it's doing and what phase it is. And I can never remember. I have to write this stuff down. But anyway, the new or dark moon is good for new beginnings, new endeavors, new relationships. So new, everything new. The waxing crescent, this is when it is growing, and it looks like the right side of a D or a closed parens. So you know how to close parentheses. It looks like that. So this is a time as the moon is waxing to feed your spells, expose yourself to things that feed your spells, like a talisman, a charm, a mantra, meditation, lighting a candle, journaling. One of the things that we're getting ready to go into pre-spell work and spell work here for the next 4 weeks, we're going to be talking strictly about spells. And when you think about, I don't know how much experience each of you has with doing spells. Mine is not a lot, I will admit, but I do have the master experience witch over here, as I call her, the master witch, who's done this a lot. And, when you do a spell, if you don't feed that, I don't want to say if you don't feed it, but you need to.
Well, we talked about this before. It's where you put your attention brings forth your intentions. So with spell work and setting intentions, you want to give that attention daily, which goes along with manifestation. We're going to sort of hit on those 3 things because they seem separate, but they're all very much aligned. So it's when you have something that feeds your spell, and I say that because it's bringing it to the forefront of your mind and putting energy into it daily, which is why we do have charm bags or talismans or a candle that you anoint, that you light. But there's this reminder, that's the spell part of it. And when you have that reminder, it's looking at it every day and like bringing yourself back to that feeling of your intentions and what you're wanting to change or look for. And that's what I call feeding it. It's like every day you give it a little more attention for your intention.
Right. Well, and I started with my instinct was to start with the full moon and work backwards, I guess, to new moon. But in the moon spells book, she starts with the new moon and goes forward. And so the author in moon spells says the full moon is the most powerful time to do your spell. Well, that's not necessarily true, because for some people that full moon is not a good time. Jayme was saying how the full moon energizes me, But for my daughter, she's like, it drains me. I don't want to do anything. So if you read something like that, that says the full moon's the best time, I think that's a personal preference, and you have to do what feels right to you. Yeah. So I did want to make the point about that, because you don't have to do your spells at full or new. You do your spells when you want to do your spells and when you connect with that.
When your energy is high to do it, like that's better than a moon phase, is when you're energetically aligned with what you want to do. And you're like, I have the go for this right now. Like, let's put it together and do it. I mean, that sounds like I'm doing it with people, but for yourself, like your inner self, be like, hey, we're doing this today. I need this. I want this in my life. And you don't have to look at the day of the week, the moon phase, anything. These are all just correlations that can help build up that power for you. Your acknowledgement of them gives it more power. Okay, clarify that a little bit?
I hope so. But the question, so if you were to do a spell, or when you do a spell, then as the moon changes phases, and if you're trying to be in sync with the moon and capture that moon's energy to help your spell, ask yourself at the waxing moon, as the moon is getting bigger, what are you doing to feed your spell? What are you doing? How are you paying attention to it? What attention are you giving it? After waxing, we have first quarter, when it's a half moon, the moon is half. So the whole right side of the D. Did I get that right?
Yeah, it's so confusing that they call it a quarter.
Yeah, I find that confusing.
Because it looks half to us, but if you think about the moon being actually lit up, we really are only seeing a quarter of it, because the whole back is, the other half is dark, and then
the side we never see.
The side we never see is dark, and then like half of the side we do see is dark. So technically we're only seeing a quarter of it. So you really only have like first quarter and third quarter. It's that I don't ever use those terms.
I know. I love the science of it though. And in fact, Jayme found a video. It's from NASA, and we posted a link to the video. Because like I said, I look up in the sky and the moon is first quarter. Yeah, and it's here and it's there and it's over there. And I'm like, why is it like that? I just want to know. So in the video that we posted, it actually shows you the phases and how the moon changes positions as it orbits with the Earth, but kind of around the Earth, but then it ends up on the backside. So it's really interesting. So you might want to watch, if you're interested in that sciencey, nerdy stuff, that's a really quick little video to understand why is it over there today? Yeah, what's happening. After first quarter, we go, the moon is waxing gibbous, which is, it's more than half full. And gibbous means swelling, by the way. If you ever hear that word, gibbous, that means swelling. Then we reach full moon, and then the moon starts to wane. So we're in waning gibbous. And the question here, as the moon starts to wane, is, what do you need to continue to do to change? What do you need to feed your change during the waning moon? At this point, you should be asking yourself, or could be asking yourself, what's stopping you from manifesting your change? It is a time, as the moon gets smaller, for you to release some of the things that are holding you back from realizing the change that you're trying to make with your spell, because your spell really is just about making it some kind of a change in your life, whatever that may be. Let's see. And I say we use the word change, and actually Jayme said this and I wrote it down. She said we use the word change because when we cast a spell, we're trying to change something. Yeah. It changes a modern way of saying manifest. Yeah. Okay, so after waxing gibbous, now we're in third quarter, which...
So you had the one side, you had the right side illuminated, now it's the whole left side illuminated, but still only a quarter of the entire moon.
And then next after that is waning crescent, when it's a C shape, like it was in the sky this morning. It was so pretty. It was literally right on the horizon in the east. Yeah. And it was this beautiful, I tried to take a picture of it. I tried to take a video of it. It just doesn't come out, but God, it was so pretty. It was so big and so beautiful. So this is a time for release, letting go, of completion. And again, what do you need to do? What do you need to let go of to manifest the change that you desire? Waning crescents are an excellent time to begin dieting, breaking bad habits, breaking off relationships, or dealing with legal matters.
The legal matters thing is like,
yeah, that's, I'm not sure why. Maybe so they don't come up later.
To squash things, if it's a releasing time and legal matters for you, makes sense to that you're releasing something in that legal matter, like starting a divorce or something like that.
Okay, and then we start the cycle over. So that was our 8 phases of the moon.
Yeah.
So this is personal preference, but to keep your spell active by feeding it, as we already mentioned, to manifest the desired change. And, you know, as far as your spell's concerned, it may not be accomplished in one cycle, you know, one moon cycle.
Right.
This could be something that takes a longer period of time. So how do you know when to like start your spell over, or do you keep feeding it? And for how long do you do that? And that is something that you have to decide. But I think you said that at some point you just decide to redo the spell if it hasn't
come to fruition. There's a lot of things that can sort of mess with the energy of your spell. And I've done this a bunch of times where I really want to do it on a certain day at a certain time. And then like my kid comes home. And so I'm sort of like also thinking about something else, and I can't be in my moment fully. I'm like, this is the worst. If you say this during your spell, just stop then and start over on another day. I got to just sit here until this candle burns out. Like if you're already thinking that way, where you're just like, get it done, hurry up. Your energy is you're not really putting that full attention into the intention that you want, because your mind is elsewhere. So you need to choose a time and place and day and whatever. When you have all kinds of spare time, just sit with it and think about it and really pull it forward with feeling. So that was more, I think, what I was saying is like, if you're trying to rush through it, the energy that you're giving it is minimal. So make sure that when you're doing your spell work, or when you're using the energy of the moons, that you can sit with it for a long enough amount of time to where when you walk up and get away, you're like, okay, that felt really good. I feel like that was enough time for me. It should just, it'll come naturally for you. And if it's not coming, practice it over and over again. I've done the same spells over and over and over again because stuff interrupts me. It started to rain one time because I do a lot of my spells outside. So you let the universe and your own feelings guide you, along with like you make the plan, you do the work, and you sit there with it. So it's definitely a balancing act as I start to talk through that.
It is definitely. And we're going to talk a lot in the next few weeks about preparing yourself, like free spell work. What does that mean? Okay. So I'm just going to quickly go through the manifestations using the phases of the moon. So new or dark moon, new beginnings, making positive changes, looking for a fresh career opportunity, planting seeds of ideas that will be harvested are all excellent activities to focus during this phase of the moon. When the moon is waxing, and it appears to be growing in size towards full, it's gaining strength. So this is a good time to focus on growth in your own life, growth in knowledge, growing your knowledge, your bank account, your relationships. Pregnancy is related to the waxing moon.
Oh, yeah.
Even
real gardening.
The word waxing actually is a farming term that means to grow. This is also a good time to increase communication, both business and pleasure. And it's also heightened during the waxing moon is healing. The full moon and new moon are the most powerful phases. I don't know why I put that in there, because I'm not sure if
listen, you're going to find that across the witch community where people say that exact phrase is what I'm just going to say.
Yeah.
And that's fine for them. Like that, if that's what they feel, like it's fine for them. But if you don't feel that to your core, don't take that as truth. You build your own truth in this practice. Like you take what serves you and feels right to you as you're exposed to the information, and then you live that truth, and you can change it sometimes. I used to only do spells at new and full moon because the rest of the moon cycles, I was like, I don't really get them. I don't really understand what I'm supposed to be doing during these phases. And then holidays for me are a big deal. So the 8 holidays are, whoa.
I hope that was a backfire.
I hope that wasn't a transformer. Something just blew up here. So take it as it fits into your life, but not as like, ooh, this is a Christian thing to say. Don't take
the
it as
gospel.
Oh, I know that saying. Don't take it as witch gospel. Can I turn that witchy?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much anything you read that that says you have to do something one way or another, take that with a large grain of salt
or a large glass of wine, either works. But do it the way you want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to feel it. That's the thing. It's like you have to connect with what you're doing.
Yes. I was going to say the only thing that we have never mentioned, well, I haven't mentioned this in a while, but remember, if there's like a rule or a law or something, it's just do no harm. Like that's it, to yourself or others. Other than that, fly your freak flag. Do whatever feels right for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I just haven't said that in a long time as far as like there's no rules to witchcraft except the one that I believe is like do no harm. So on to the next thing.
All right. So full moon, like I said, okay. So
you were saying moon, like it's the most powerful phase.
Yeah. So
I know what we were going to say here. I remember, you guys, we wrote this down because scientifically, let's use that word better. It is the most powerful phase. New moon and full moon are the most powerful phases of moving water. So like there needs to be more to that sentence because those are the times when you get your greatest shift in water movement around the earth. Like doesn't matter where you're at because the moon travels around and pulls on that water. It pulls on us. This is when the most hurricanes and tornadoes are. So it really affects moisture in the air. So it is the most powerful phase, that and new moon. Full moon can have a more dramatic effect on the tide, but it definitely needs to be finished with the most powerful phase to move water. I think that's like the best way to think about that.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. And we are 70% water, 65 to 70%
60
water.
to 70, depends on,
So the full moon is a good time it's a time of fulfillment, activity, increased psychic ability, perfecting ideas, getting your shit together, or renewing commitments. And the waning moon, it's a time to release. Just as the moon appears to be decreasing, this is the same time to get rid of stuff that no longer serves you, breaking bad habits, clear out stuff, give things away. These are all good things. Even if you're not doing a spell, these are good things to do during that period of time. So I'm going to go through some days of the week and their ruling planets and what planetary energies align with the spells or the type of spells that you might do. This is not an inclusive list, but
it's ideas.
It's ideas for Monday. So these are days of the week, the ruling planet, and the types of spells that fit with the energy of the planet. And that's why the day of the week is considered to be a good day to do these types of spells. It's because of the planet that rules that day of the week. It's not because it's Monday. It's because Monday's ruled by the moon.
Yeah.
So Monday, and I put in parentheses here, spirit. So that was so this is like.
Oh, yeah. This is my interpretation of the energy associated with these
planets.
What was I was going to say heavenly bodies or something. I feel like these phenomenon up here in the sky that we get to encounter. But yeah, so for each of the ruling planets, there's an energy that comes with them. And so understanding the energy can be better than looking at a list of like what type of spells do people do on this day. Because it's whatever you connect with then. Where skipping to Tuesday really quick, if we have action with Mars, like action, if it's not in there as let's see, an action. All right, so we didn't put like legal action. All right, maybe you want to file a lawsuit on a Tuesday. We didn't put that in there. So if it feels right to you, or maybe you want to save it for Monday, where it's something that's very personal to you, and that's like the day that represents the spirit, the soul of us, then that's right for you. So it's taking the energies of these ruling planets and then making it work for you, whatever aligns with what you're doing.
Okay.
Yes. Feeling, whatever you're feeling, that's what I meant to say.
All right. So Monday, moon, this energy is spirit, and the types of spells might be psychic abilities, to do with psychic abilities and emotional healing. Tuesday, Mars, action. This might be passion and romance, protection, and spells for confidence. On Wednesday is ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication. So obviously spells around communication, travel, career, and knowledge. Thursday is ruled by Jupiter, which is the planet of expansion.
Mhm.
So these are things for
Growing.
growing finances, prosperity spells, spirituality. Friday is ruled by Venus, the planet of love. This is a good time for any kind of love, romantic love, platonic love, friendships. Saturday is ruled by Saturn, which is about limits and boundaries. So this is releasing and endings. And then Sunday is the sun, is ruled by the sun. So this is our outward personality. So this could be just outward expressions of yourself. Okay. Last thing before we open this to, do you want to do this part? I think
Do you want to say it?
No, I think you want to do it because you wrote
just
it.
like
You
it.
did the research.
I
She
just
really,
like it.
she really loves this. So
Okay.
I'm gonna
I do.
let the co-host take
Thank-
over from
Thank
here.
you, host. Thank you for having me tonight. I appreciate it.
And now on to my co-host, Jayme.
There's an applause sign in the back right now. Okay, so as we learn astrology, it is super effing complicated. If you have not learned that already, figuring out astrology is like, it's so big and broad that making it bite-sized to understand it is hard unless you've been working with it for a long time. You've been hearing the same things about a sign or an energy around a sign or something. So because I do have that knowledge, I was like, ooh, I'm going to pick little sayings for each of the moon, each of the signs that the moon is in.
Okay.
So let's make sure I say that right.
Yeah. So
when the moon is in Aries, this is like a little saying for that time of the month, which is also cute. Time of the month. So each planet, each astrological sign gets a couple days where the moon is in that sign. So it gets to rule the emotions of what the moon transmits down to us. So how the moon reflects our sunlight. The moon is also reflecting a zodiac energy. Okay, so hopefully I've squashed and said everything I needed to not confuse you guys. But when the moon is in Aries, here is a little saying that you can think of. Either you can feel this or you can see people acting in this way. And it's, I do what I want, because that's Aries energy. They don't want to be told what to do. They want to do what they want. They want to act like a kid, and not in like a tantrum sort of way, but sometimes in a tantrum. So the word of caution that we wrote in with this, and if you guys, this is all in the Word document thing that Kat made, but the word of caution during moon in Aries is like, don't overcommit yourself. So when you're in that, like, I do what I want. Yeah, I'm just going to pick this, and wear myself out. So like, don't overcommit to things, because that can be the energy during this time, is to want to overcommit. Be a kid, like be playful, go to a playground, like get your feet into some cold ass water like I did, but have patience when you do it. So don't throw the tantrum. Like, don't be like, I want it now. Don't let yourself get hangry like me and like throw a fit in public. It's not good. Hangry is not
at Publix.
Oh gosh. I'm usually only throwing hangry fits in the car right before we get to a place that's food, and then I can sit there and be like, okay, people are watching now. I need to behave myself. All right. So then when we move into Taurus, the Taurus moon is, it must be beautiful. What we know about the Taurus zodiac is like all things luxurious, beautiful, sensual, like bring me in that goddess energy. So that's the saying during that time. And you might seek out beautiful places. You might want to look at artwork. You might want to be in a garden, like whatever beauty is too. You might want to really do yourself up. Like I did smoky eyes tonight, and I don't know, I was just feeling that. The moon's not in Taurus right now, but it's just whenever you're feeling it, let that happen for you. Go with that. So the word of caution for Taurus is like, don't overindulge. So if you're feeling that Taurus moon energy, you might want to go out to eat for every single meal for 3 days straight. That's overindulging, spending too much on a super luxury item that you shouldn't. That might be overindulging. Whatever overindulgence is to you, watch out for it during the Taurus moon. And then I put get into nature, because that's how you can balance the Taurus affinity with luxury, to get into nature, because that's also something that they can find beauty in, like no matter where you're at. Next is Gemini, the air sign. So we're going to be thinking about how we're in our heads a little more. And Gemini, because they like to stay busy, because they're thinking they want to keep going, I schedule my down days. So during Gemini, you might feel like you've got overload of thoughts coming through. Schedule that downtime for yourself. Be like, all right, I'm going to Netflix for 1 hour today and think about nothing important. Give yourself that time to kind of be not on for Gemini moons. Cancer, all right, love this first water sign, so let's start getting emotional. With the Cancer moon, or when the moon is in Cancer, the saying that I made for this is, if you need a friend, I'm available. Because Cancers really do love to be there with people. They want to create a community. They want to reach out. They want to have fun with somebody, or even take care of them. Like, it can become a codependent type of thing. So during this time of, if you need a friend, you're available. The word of caution is to don't take things personally. So if you're throwing yourself out there and everyone's like, yeah, I just want to chill, and you're like, well, F you too. You know, I didn't need you anyways. Like, just don't take it personal when people don't reciprocate the friendship feeling or anything else that you have going on that people don't want to involve themselves with. So that's Cancer moon. I also put down like leaning into forgiveness, because when you tend to take things personally, you forget to forgive people and be like, sorry, my bad. I was emotional that day. Like, it wasn't a real argument. I just had a heightened sense of, I want what I want and I didn't care about you. So revisit that if you have like an argument during a Cancer moon, and figure out, was it just your emotions being high and you took something personally, or was it a true argument, I guess? With Cancers, and I'll say this for a couple different moon signs, set healthy boundaries. Don't let yourself go too far into something too fast. Also, don't let people attach themselves to you too fast, where you're like, oh, I wanted a friend, but I didn't know I was getting like a succubant who was going to steal half my life.
A vampire.
An emotional vampire. Who's dated one of those? Okay. We're water signs. That happens to us. All right, next is Leo. We're back in that fire sign transition, and Leo is, it's my life, you can watch. Okay. They really like to be center stage, and the Leo moon brings that out in us. Like, if it's Leo moon and my mom wants to karaoke, I'm like, I'm down. Because you know what? Everybody's going to have a good time. It doesn't matter. Everybody wants to be on stage. Like, we all just want to cheer for each other. That's the Leo moon energy right there. It's like, get on stage, be out there, be present, have confidence. So you don't have to drink in confidence. You can do other things to just feel confident. But that's where you're going to get with the Leo moon. The word of caution is, of course, be open to honest input. So this is sort of like the Gemini thing, where it's like, don't take things too personally, but it's being open to honest input. If you're being a dick and somebody tells you you're being a dick, like, recognize that. Be like, I need to calm down then. Maybe I am. Letting go of ego. There's a million ways to describe that, but whatever that means for you when you're trying to control a situation just because you want to control it, rather than it's good for everybody. I put in there, do something creative, because Leo is a creative sign. As a fire sign, the transition to create, very good. And I wrote karaoke in there because, hey, karaoke. All right, so we get into the Virgo moon. All right, we're Virgo rising, we're Libra moon. So these two next signs are like us a lot. But with Virgo moons, it says, I only want to control everything. So these are very exact words. I only want to control everything. That is a Virgo mentality when the moon is radiating that energy, because you want everything to go perfectly as planned, in its box, prepackaged, like all the jobs are done, put people in their places. That's Virgo energy. You could also want to clean and organize stuff too, but it's the control over your environment and possibly over people. So the word of caution with the Virgo moon is to stop seeking perfection. If your drive is to get somewhere that is perfect, give yourself a break of like, allow adjustments in your plans. I plan for sure. Like, I love plans, right? Got the Virgo in me, but allow adjustments in the plan. Don't be like, this is the only way it can happen, otherwise I'm gonna be pissed. And I put in here, get whimsical. My mom's so good at whimsical. I'm not as good, but I try to let it happen.
She's too much of a control freak. I'm a control freak.
She's a control freak, but her control is loose when it comes to like decorating or something. Because she's like, throw up colors everywhere. It's great. It's like, oh gosh, I can't do that. Like, it needs to be 4 or 5 colors and I'm done. She can have like every color in her house and it looks good. It's not like she's tacky. You're not tacky.
I know that.
Of course you do.
I know I'm not tacky.
But like, from my house, no, there's right.
And I love your house.
I know. It's a different feel on how we control our environments.
Yes.
But so get whimsical if you can, and just like,
I love whimsical.
I know you do. Dude,
I really do.
you're pulling off whimsical so magically. I love it. Your house is so different than mine, and I love that.
Ditto.
When we move into Libra moon energy, all right, so Libra is the love sign. You know, Taurus is luxury, and that's great, but Libra is really for lovers. It is the companion, compassion sign. They want to be with people. So Libras are make it equal or I'll be alone. So where they want that companionship, they also need everything to be equal.
The scales.
Oh my gosh, you pay your side, I'll pay my side.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to drive the equal amount I'm going to drive. Otherwise, guess what? Hurt feelings. Oh boy, get your feelings hurt. I didn't. I gave
all up
more.
in my fields.
All up in the fields.
It's not fair. It's not fair.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
got to be fair and balanced and equal and all of that.
If there were like negative things to say, that's probably what I would have made Libra say. Like, it's not fair. Fill in the blank. But with Libra moon energy, that is what will be reflected in situations, is where people are really looking for equality and fairness, but they're also looking for companionship. So it's not that they want to be alone. They don't. But they want it to be equal. They want to have something that's fair, feels right, finding their own people, you know, getting in your good circle. So the word of caution with Libras is don't hold grudges. Don't hold your grudges, and to seek harmony and love. And then I also put don't let loyalty keep you stuck. So the negative side of Libra moon is you're loyal to a fault. Don't let that be your fault. Like, just if you realize it's not bad, that's the healthy boundary stuff. Just cut it off. Be like, oh yeah, okay, guess what? The moon's waning and I don't really need you anymore.
I
Like,
live with
pick
that shit. I am the Libra moon. I live
Loyal
with
to
that
a fault.
Loyal to a fault. Yes.
I'm not. I cut people out all the time.
It's a double-edged sword for sure, loyalty, especially when you are loyal to people that don't deserve it, haven't earned it.
Ooh.
All right, now
That's another meetup. So Scorpio moon, which she's a Scorpio sun, but the Scorpio moon still reflects the aspects of that sign. And this is of the water signs, of the intuitive signs. This is the one that's like the deepest. This is the deep, deep water of the water signs. And they're saying is, I feel it in my bones. There could be no evidence on this whole planet. And the Scorpio is like, but I feel it. I know something. And so with Scorpio moons, that's what you get, is they become very stuck in what they feel and they know it to be true, no matter if there's evidence for it or not. It's, you know.
When you know, you
We
know.
love you, though.
That's it.
Yes.
When you know, you know.
So as a word of caution for in the Scorpio moon time, recognize your own patterns of control. Like, do you get really upset when your morning doesn't go right? Like, how you handle that, you know? If you start having little mistakes, can you laugh at it? Or are you like, right? That it's your level of control and what you allow in your environment. Letting go of your desire for revenge. So once somebody does wrong you, you might hold a grudge for a really, really long time and seek out ways. Is life a long time? It could be. The desire for revenge or to see karma happen is very strong with Scorpio moons. So if something bad happens during that time, you may be really caught up in the feelings of like, ooh, I should do this, do that, or I should plant this, or I should call somebody and tell them the biggest secret. And it's getting that revenge that is the deep, deep feelings of the Scorpio moon. Lack of forgiveness, that probably goes in with like holding a grudge or seeking revenge. But there's so much passion during the Scorpio moon. Use that for spreading something good. Like, it could be artwork, whatever your passion is. The Scorpio moon is the best time to just use passion for this thing that you love, like whatever it is, riding horses, watching sunsets, taking pictures, use it for that. Right, on to Sagittarius, our last fire sign. Oh, oops, I didn't say their saying. The Sagittarius, if you know any, I believe I can do anything. Love that. They are the archer aiming to wherever they want to be. They're the Babe Ruth, like, I'm gonna, you know, hit it out of the park over here. So the word of caution with Sagittarius moon energy is to live your own truth and let others live their own truth. The one thing that Sagittariuses do, because they're so sure of what they can do, is they don't They don't give other people time to do what they can do. It's like, so they only see the world through their lens of what they want. And they're not considering the people around them or how somebody else's truth is different from theirs. This is all religious wars ever. Okay. We don't all need to be the same in order to survive. Like what is it? Let live and
Live and let live.
Live and let live. That's it. That would be what you can do instead of, I do what I want type of thing. It's because the Sagittarius moon time does make you really friendly and outgoing and personable and telling stories and sharing your knowledge. Again, watch out for people who want to like cling to you and take all your time. So it's, be generous, but then also have healthy boundaries. Be sure that doesn't cross over into multiple days of somebody like wanting to stay at your house or something. Capricorn, oh man, this is the belted parent. That's the way I describe it. It's like all rules and regulations, tighten it up, like let's get things done. Ruled by Saturn. The Capricorn saying is, I'm in charge here. So this also becomes a level of control and knowing what's right for yourself and then wanting it to be right for everybody else. Because if you're right, everybody else should be able to follow that because it's right for you. This actually causes a lot of depression in Capricorn moon times or for the Capricorn sign itself because they're inflexible. Like their inflexibility leads them to feel very discouraged by stuff they can't control, can't change, can't get through to others. So practicing flexibility during the Capricorn moon is the best thing you can do. Or stay home and don't do anything. That way you don't get caught up in the control factor of it. I put down find meaningful work or hobbies because when you connect yourself to a community where you're all working together on the same thing, you're less likely to try to control what everyone's doing. You're working as a group to get something done. So Capricorn time is also really good for building something with other people, doing a beach cleanup or something. You're still doing something that is beneficial with rules, but you're doing it as a group and nobody can really be wrong in that situation. Aquarius. With Aquarius, they're like the hippiest sign, if that's a right way to say that. But because they're so new age, because they're the last sign before Pisces, which is like I've completed the cycle, they are totally about acceptance and feeling people's vibes. So what I wrote for that is we may be different, but I'm totally feeling your vibe. They're willing to accept anybody in any world, in any situation, as long as they can come to an understanding that there'll be respect both ways. So during Aquarius time, mingle with people that you've never talked to. When we were in California, we ran into a lot of transgender people, which I've had very limited conversations with transgender people. So my husband and I took that opportunity. We were like, hey, so tell us about the world that you live in. Like, what goes on? How's dating? How do you guys find each other? Like, what is it? And he was a very angry person, but we got a totally new perspective. And I was like, yeah, we lived that. That was good. There was a moment for that, for him to express to us and for us to learn something back. That's totally in the Aquarius scope of have a conversation with somebody 100% different from you. The word of caution is get out of your head. So fear of judgment often leads people to not get themselves out there and to start new relationships with healthy boundaries. Always a necessity for when you're starting stuff. I did put this down because Aquarius people can get so insecure, or Aquarius energy, because they want to be out there with everyone, but they're afraid of how they're going to be summed up. Like people like you, and that's a good thing. So just let it be that. So during the Aquarius time, even if you are not the same as the people that you're around, people are still engaging with you. They still like you. Like let that be enough for yourself during the Aquarius moon. Lastly, with Pisces, I'm a Pisces sun, so I feel this more so, but Pisces draw people in because of their depth in conversation and their allure, and maybe they seem like they are all worldly or whatever, but they're usually working so hard on themselves that they don't have time for relationships. So I can't be your guru. I'm still working on myself. That is a true Pisces thing to do because they want to give time to people. They want to have those meaningful relationships and get deep, but they're like, oh shit, I still have so much to do on myself. I don't have enough notebooks to fill for both of us. So the word of caution with the Pisces moon, because this is the very last sign in the zodiac before we start over with all that confidence, is victimhood. So we're right at the end where it's like, how do we remember just like the pain and the hurtful things that we've gone through, or are we focusing on happier memories and always looking forward to like the next sunny day? So that the word of caution is, how does being a victim really serve you? And if you're playing that as far as getting in your feelings about something and knowing that every time you get involved something you get hurt, or if you've been hurt, how long are you willing to live in the pain of that and like ruminate over it? Ruminate, yes, ruminate. Mm-hmm. Lastly, I put imagination is the greatest strength during this time. So don't let your imagination, which is your greatest thing, be your greatest weakness. Because as much as you can imagine, whatever, the book you want to write about your life, the project that you want to complete, the business you want to open, you can also manifest your greatest fears during this time. So that's why like imagination can work in both ways. It can make you imagine a lot of fears that aren't real, or it can make you imagine like beautiful things you could create and things you could do with your life. That is all 12 of the zodiacs, which I just love. I hope you guys did too. It was fun.
And I was thinking as you were talking about it, I was thinking about how it would be so interesting for your shadow work to track the days, to write about like every day, you know, your moods and things like that, and what you do and what you think about and what you concentrate on, and see where the moon is. I think I feel like Gemini affects me the most negatively, because it seems like around that energy, for whatever reason, I'm not feeling up to snuff. I'm just
not feeling yourself.
I'm just not feeling myself. No. And that may be me personally as a Scorpio, and the moon with my moon in Libra, so we'll all experience that differently. So that could be some really good shadow work to do, is like, how do these things how do these times of the month affect me when these planets are in these different sides, and then writing about that so you can start to see a pattern in your life.
That way you don't make your, like, if you're not married yet, or if you want to get married, that way, if you know that Gemini is not your time, if you go to plan a date for something big or a vacation, you're like, oh, you know what? I always feel really down during the Gemini moon. Like, maybe not that week. Maybe the next week will be better. Mm-hmm. And that's how we use it to plan out things in our life that we know are spiritually will be aligned, like energetically will be aligned, and we'll be able to move forward in a very positive manner. Yeah. Like for me, what Kat was saying is, full moon for me drains me. New moon, I'm like awake all night long, which I wish it was the other way around, but it's just not for me.
And I'm on full moon, I want to be out all night long, or up with the moon and seeing it setting and big out over the Gulf of Mexico. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. So the way someone asked where to learn about the when the moons are in what sign. There are apps. Mm-hmm. There are a couple free apps you can use. I also have a witch's date book, which Llewellyn sells, that I get every year, so I can you can look ahead and see when the moon's going to be in certain signs, or what sign it's in every day that you are looking at the calendar. But which app do you use? My Moon Phase? Is that free?
That's what it says. It's actually called Moon Pro, and I do have the free version of Moon Pro. But I've had this app a very long time, and I have no idea if it costs anything now. You know, I often, as soon as any kind of witchy app comes out, I'm on it when it's free, and to see what it's like and kind of assess it so that I can tell other people about it. And I've had a lot of moon apps, and I have to say that Moon Pro is just the easiest to understand. There's not a lot of gobbledygook and pages that you got to sort through. It tells you exactly what's going on the day. You can skip ahead in the month and figure out where the moon will be on a certain day if you need to. And then it gives me other useless stuff that I'll never use. It's like the moon's age right now is 29 days. Oh, okay. I don't know why it's only 29 days. It's millions and billions of years old, but whatever. So it's in its cycle. That's what that means. But azimuth, altitude, it does tell me the moon's zodiac sign, and it tells me when it's transitioning. So from one sign to the next. Also, it gives you moonrise and moonset, and then sunrise and sunset. So it's basic, but I love it because it's basic. I'm like, I don't need all the extra stuff to sort through to find the information that I really want. Like, as soon as I pull it up, it's like, boom, new moon, Wednesday, March 2nd, in Pisces, sunrise is at this time, moonset, moonrise is at this time. I'm like, perfect. Don't give me a lot of fluff. I don't want to have to sort through it. So find an app that works for you. You can also get it for free online with NASA and Farmer's Almanac. Those are websites. So if you wanted to write down a calendar for yourself or something, that's also all out there. Any Farmer's Almanac will have all of the moon stuff because farmers still plant according to moon phases and cycles.
Excellent.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one last little bit of information that's in your lesson tonight that I am not going to go over right now because we're running out of time and I want to open the floor to questions. But I put spell type associations and incense and fragrances. So you can, for health, career, love, and things like that. So you can go in and
For the different areas.
a lot of these things I hope you take and put into your book of shadows or your magical journal or your grimoire or whatever you're calling the notebook that I know you've been diligently writing in since we started this in January.
Yeah.
And with that, we're going to do our sign off, which we do at this point in the meeting so that we can stop the recording and then let you ask questions. So if you have questions, you can raise your hands and we'll get to you in just 1 second. So,
Okay.
all right.
Hey, witches. Thanks for stopping by on week 8.
Week 8.
We hope to see you next week for spell work, the pre-work.
Pre-spell work.
Pre-spell work.
Get into spell work next week. So,
See you next week.
All right.
All right.
All right. So there's
Stop
so
me
many
recording.
hands. I'm not
Okay.
sure how we're going to